Hey YouTube! I was working with a student a couple weeks ago and realized that I needed to make an updated video about this great exercise I learned from my teacher, Richard McDowell, back in 1984 when I was a senior in high school at Interlochen. Anyway, I think I was playing the Brahms Third Symphony excerpt on clarinet. You know, the one from the second movement that's on every single orchestra audition. It was a stressful excerpt to play. It still is. Just ask some famous orchestral clarinet players.
Hi, I'm Steve Williamson of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, and I approve this message.
Anyway, the problem was that my sound wasn't as smooth as I wanted, going back and forth over the break. And my teacher could see that my throat was moving a lot as I was trying to voice the notes correctly and play them in tune, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I was trying to do so much to make the damn thing smooth that I was actually making everything worse. So he taught me this little exercise that I'm going to show you now. The whole point of this exercise is to relax your throat while keeping your airstream constant through the different resistances you'll encounter as you go back and forth over the break. But before that, I'm going to talk just a little bit more about the physics of the clarinet. So let's think about this tube we call a clarinet. Because it's a cylinder, as opposed to a sax, which is a cone, you'll notice that as more fingers get put down on the instrument, it becomes more resistant as you try to get a sound out. Now, I don't understand all of the physics of this, and I'm sure some of you will school me in the comments, but it is a fact of life that we need to deal with. Now, this becomes especially obvious as you go from the A in the Chalumeau register to a B in the clarion register. Because you're going from a tube that's about 15 centimeters to one that's 50 centimeters. So if you're slurring back and forth, like you do in the second bar of that Brahms excerpt, you'll be encountering changes in resistance. And we do a number of things as clarinet players to help alleviate that, right? We'll put more fingers down. We'll cover the A, as we call it, by adding more fingers to increase the resistance of the A so it's not so dramatic when it goes up to the B. It also has a side effect of making the A more in tune because the A tends to be a little bit sharp. This resistance change isn't huge, but it's there, and we notice it as a clarinet or bass clarinet player. Now, this resistance causes us to tense up, which just makes everything worse. The good news, though, is that we can change how our bodies react to this resistance. So back to the exercise. What we're going to do is start on an open G, probably the least resistant note on the clarinet since no fingers are down. By the way, this is why most of us learned that note first, whether your band director knew it or not. Okay, so what we're going to do is take a big breath and play that G. No tongue, no major lip pressure, just inhale and exhale into the instrument. Now, did you feel the amount of air pressure needed to play that G? Let me try it again. What we're going to do is step away from the G gradually. First, we're going to go up a half step, and then back down to the G, and then down a half step, and then back up to the G. And then we're going to go up a whole step, back down to the G, down a whole step, then back up to the G, and so on. And then as we continue, we're going to go over the break, and as we do so, we will try to keep the same relaxed airstream, embouchure, tongue position, and so on. So let's give it a try. Again, relax everything. You don't want to feel any tension or any pressure. You want everything to feel just kind of open. Don't worry about voicing. Just worry about your corners of your mouth moving forward toward the center of the mouthpiece. Think of your embouchure, like we've said, like a rubber band. So don't bite. Think in and forward with the corners of your mouth. And that is the only thing that is going to be tense, or probably a better way to think of it is strong. It's going to be a strong embouchure, especially in the corners of the mouth, pushing into the sides of the mouthpiece and forward down toward the back of the mouthpiece. Now, this is an exercise that you don't have to do so slowly because the point of it is to get through as much of it or all of it in one breath as possible. Breathe if you have to. Don't worry so much about intonation. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Just think calm and relaxing. What I love about this exercise, especially if I'm getting tense, is that it's like meditating. It relaxes your body, it relaxes your throat, it relaxes your airstream, it relaxes your embouchure, sort of, except for this, strong part in the corners. Literally everything that causes problems in your playing gets a nice Zen moment to recenter. So if you find yourself tensing up and your sound constricting, playing this exercise will likely recenter you. It's actually pretty remarkable. Now let me try this damn Brahms. And I'm going to get myself uptight thinking that my clarinet teacher, Richard, is going to be listening to me, and I am back in high school, and that I am auditioning for Steve Williamson, who, by the way, I went to college with, but I'll still be really uptight about that, even though I have stories. Okay, not bad, not great. But when I feel my jaw clenching a little bit, I will focus my attention on the corners of my mouth pushing forward and my shoulders dropping and my air flowing. All right, so it's just a very centered, meditational, focused playing. I know the excerpt well enough so that I don't have to think about the notes or the fingerings or any of that. I've got that pretty much down. And then the focus entirely is on this playing mechanism being relaxed. It's the same thinking that I do when I play that exercise that I showed you a minute ago. But there is another excerpt that this exercise comes in super handy for, and it's from the Mendelssohn-Schottische Symphony, the Third Symphony. I don't remember if it's the second or third movement, but it's the fast one. It's like a scherzo. Here, I'll play for you. So yeah, the beginning of that is like this exercise is that, right? So just, faster. Speaking of the exercise, you can download this and tons of other exercises on earspasm.com in the free download section of the shop. I hope this exercise was helpful. I hope this idea of, I'm going to constantly preach relaxation. Tension is the enemy of every part of clarinet playing. And this exercise will hopefully center you a little bit if you're starting to feel tense and let you focus on the things that are the opposite of tension and what you can do specifically and mindfully to reduce the tension in that part of your playing. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.